Alzheimer's disease, also known as Alzheimer's, is also referred to as the most malicious curse from God because this disease often occurs in people over 65 years old and its incidence increases with age. Now, among those aged 85 and older, 1 in every 3 people suffers from Alzheimer's. The Alzheimer's Association predicts that by 2050, the number of patients nationwide will increase from the current 6 million to 13 million. According to the Chinese Alzheimer's Disease Association, there are currently 10 million Alzheimer's patients in China, and this number is expected to exceed 40 million by 2050. Even more frightening, scientific research has found that some so-called good habits might actually be the culprits behind Alzheimer's disease. Let's take a look at the latest discoveries and research progress on Alzheimer's disease through this video, including the causes of the disease and effective prevention and coping measures. First, what is depriving elderly people of their memory? Grandpa Lou is 85 years old this year. He started showing signs of Alzheimer's disease 20 years ago, gradually progressing from forgetfulness to being unable to take care of himself. Just earlier this month, while he was sunbathing in the yard, his wife saw him there and, thinking nothing of it, went indoors to do some housework. However, when she finished, Grandpa Lou was no longer in the yard. She panicked and called the police, informing their children to come help search for him. They spent 2 whole days searching, but he was nowhere to be found. Just as everyone was deeply worried, Grandpa Lou somehow returned home on his own. He looked like a homeless person, dirty all over and extremely hungry. He couldn't even explain how he managed to find his way back. This wasn't the first time Grandpa Lou had gone missing, but it was the longest he had ever been lost. His wife silently resolved never to leave his side again to prevent such a situation from happening. Many elderly people like Grandpa Lou are in similar situations, but not all are as lucky as him to return home after getting lost. What is stealing away the memories of elderly people? Alzheimer's disease has become a serious public health issue threatening quality of life. What exactly causes Alzheimer's disease? Normally, our brains contain a toxic protein called amyloid beta peptide. As we age, this protein accumulates and, when it exceeds a certain amount, forms amyloid plaques, threatening normal brain cell neurotransmission. Moreover, some individuals have excessive phosphorylation of tau proteins, leading to neurofibrillary tangles and loss of normal brain cell function. Amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles are typical changes in the brains of Alzheimer's patients, gradually causing them to lose their normal memory and reasoning abilities, eventually making it impossible for them to care for themselves. Second, the 6 major causes of Alzheimer's disease have been identified. Some of these are considered good habits, but, once Alzheimer's disease occurs, are irreversible. Prevention is often more effective than treatment. To prevent the disease, we first need to understand its causes. Research has found that some so-called good habits might actually be the culprits behind Alzheimer's disease. According to a study in Japan, skipping breakfast is associated with an increased risk of Alzheimer's disease. Researchers tracked the dietary habits of 525 elderly people over 65 years old for 6 years and found a direct link between skipping breakfast and an increased risk of Alzheimer's disease. Compared to those who ate breakfast, those who skipped it had a 4-fold higher risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. Researchers believe this is because skipping breakfast can lead to inadequate nutrition, accelerating brain function decline and premature aging. In addition to skipping breakfast, researchers also investigated other dietary habits that may be related to the risk of Alzheimer's disease. They found that frequent snacking increases the risk of developing the disease by 2.7 times, likely due to the high fat content in snacks that can raise cholesterol levels in the blood and accelerate the accumulation of amyloid beta peptide in the brain. Excessive salt intake was also found to increase the risk by 2.5 times, as it can damage blood vessel walls in the brain, leading to increased blood pressure and cortical atrophy. Moreover, blindly pursuing a light diet is more likely to lead to Alzheimer's disease, especially among the elderly. While a light diet is often recommended for health, overdoing it can actually harm the body. For example, elderly people who maintain excessively light diets may lack sufficient vitamin B12, which is essential for nerve cell function. Over time, this deficiency can contribute to the onset of Alzheimer's disease. Mrs. Wu, aged 45, worked as a cleaner at an insurance company near her home. Over the past 6 months, she experienced several odd incidents. Despite being a skilled cook, she often forgot to add salt to her dishes or mistakenly added it twice. Once, while cooking, she received a phone call and walked away, completely forgetting about the meal and nearly causing a kitchen fire. Her family initially brushed off these incidents, attributing them to her aging memory. However, over the past month, Mrs. Wu's behavior has become increasingly peculiar. She no longer knows how to use WeChat and struggles with ordinary phone calls. She avoids social interactions and spends each day sitting alone, staring blankly. Concerned by her condition, Mrs. Wu's husband promptly took her to the hospital for examination. The tests revealed symptoms of brain atrophy, and her score on a simplified cognitive assessment was only 14 points, confirming clinical dementia. This diagnosis surprised both the doctors and her family. After all, Mrs. Wu is only 45 years old. How could dementia strike her so early? The doctors discovered that Mrs. Wu had been a vegetarian for about 10 years, strictly avoiding any animal products. This prolonged vegetarian diet had caused a severe deficiency of vitamin B12 in her body, which was likely the main trigger for her dementia. Thirdly, according to research in Australia, there is a direct link between Alzheimer's disease and vitamin D deficiency. A study conducted by the University of South Australia analyzed data from over 290,000 participants in the UK Biobank. They found that increasing vitamin D intake to normal levels could prevent 17% of Alzheimer's disease cases. Researchers believe that vitamin D, as a hormone precursor, has broad effects on the body, including brain health. Fourthly, according to a study in the United States, excessive sleep may also increase the risk of Alzheimer's disease. Excessive daytime napping has been linked to an increased risk of Alzheimer's disease onset, with longer naps during the day associated with a higher risk as people age. Researchers studied 1,065 elderly people with an average age of 81, among whom 812 had cognitive impairment. Over a period of 14 years, they monitored their nap frequencies using wristwatches. The results showed that compared to those who napped less than an hour a day, those who napped for more than an hour increased their risk of Alzheimer's disease by 40%. Why does excessive napping lead to Alzheimer's disease? Recent studies have revealed that daytime napping is linked to an overaccumulation of toxic proteins in the brain, which impairs the brain regions responsible for wakefulness. This accumulation ultimately leads to Alzheimer's disease. While these studies highlight potential risks, it's important to note that not all sleep is harmful. Moderate napping can even benefit brain development and slow down cognitive decline. A study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society in 2016 found that a 1-hour nap after lunch improved cognitive performance in older adults in China, compared to those who did not nap or napped for shorter or longer periods. 5. Excessive cleanliness may increase the risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. A tidy home environment is good, but excessive cleaning is not advisable. Small amounts of bacteria can promote normal immune function, allowing the body to be stronger. Our immune systems need external environmental stimuli to develop and stabilize gradually. If the external environment is too clean, the immune system cannot function properly. An overly clean home environment reduces the body's exposure to pathogenic microorganisms. Long-term living in a clean environment can also lower the activity of body tissues and organs, reduce cellular activity, and thus weaken immunity, potentially accelerating brain nerve degeneration and increasing the risk of Alzheimer's disease. In addition, using disinfectants, antibiotics, and other substances excessively in daily life can kill bacteria that activate human immune functions, preventing the immune system from exercising. 3. Doctors remind you to be vigilant about 10 early signs of Alzheimer's disease. Early signs of Alzheimer's disease can be traced. When these symptoms appear in elderly people around you, prompt medical attention is necessary. Decreased ability to learn new things, inability to shop independently, difficulty in personal financial planning, noticeable decline in memory, repetitive questioning about the same thing, inability to express thoughts clearly, and difficulty in choosing words. Loss of interest in previous hobbies, significant changes in personality, avoidance of social activities, reluctance to talk to family and friends, forgetting the way home, forgetting specific times and seasons, and significant emotional fluctuations, often anxious, depressed, or irritable. When dealing with two things, it is often clear that you do not know where to start. Ordinary housework and familiar work have become difficult to handle. 46 living habits help you stay away from Alzheimer's disease. Preventing Alzheimer's disease requires making changes in life's details. Several things are important. First, eat more fish. Fish contains rich omega-3 fatty acids, which are beneficial for brain health. Research has found that the DHA form of omega-3s helps reduce the occurrence and progression of Alzheimer's disease. You can eat salmon, sardines, etc., appropriately every day. Second, play Sudoku often. Sudoku is an activity that tests brain ability and regularly exercises the brain to help strengthen its functions, which is helpful in preventing Alzheimer's disease. Third, maintain a healthy weight. The higher the weight, the higher the risk of Alzheimer's disease. Therefore, it is important to maintain a healthy weight through exercise, diet, and other means daily. Fourth, adhere to meditation. Meditation helps increase blood flow in the brain and can help reduce stress levels, improve cognitive function, etc. Napping ensures adequate sleep. Good sleep allows the brain to get enough rest time, which is beneficial for protecting brain health. Note that the daily sleep time should be maintained at 7 to 8 hours and not stay up late. 6. Socialize more. Many people become more withdrawn as they age, but this practice is not recommended. Actively participating in social activities can not only relax the mood but also exercise the brain and body, which is beneficial for preventing Alzheimer's disease. 7. Regular exercise can reduce the risk of disease. Studies have shown that regular exercise, non-smoking habits, maintaining a healthy weight, healthy eating, and moderate drinking of alcohol are beneficial for reducing dementia. But regular exercise is the most important one. Among the various methods of preventing Alzheimer's disease, such as physical exercise, intellectual training, spiritual cultivation, and family care, physical exercise plays a significant role in protecting healthy brain cells and establishing normal cognitive function. Compared with older people with less physical activity, those who insist on regular fitness and learning ability, attention, and abstract reasoning are significantly higher than those of the same age. In short, Alzheimer's disease is an irreversible disease. It is recommended to actively reduce the risk of disease through intervention measures and maintain an optimistic attitude. Always pay attention to physical condition, pay attention to oneself, face abnormalities, and achieve early detection and early treatment. Alright, we'll stop sharing here today. Thank you for watching. I hope today's content has resonated with you. Friends who haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click subscribe. This way, we can accompany you every day, grow together, be happy together, and grow old together. See you next time.